Okay, and I also discovered, all right, I think that's it. So we are recording now. So again, welcome. What's going to happen today? We already did the Zoom overview. So now we're going to have you guys do some introductions. So what we want you to do so that everybody can kind of see who's here and maybe where you have been engaged in the past. Again, in the chat, what I want you to do is I want you to go to the chat and I just want you to put your first name in. So like I'm going to put in Sue. And then what activities do you do as a volunteer at the Refuge? So I like to help with programming and I'm on the Friends board. So that should have popped up in everyone's chat. So if everyone could just take a moment, put in your name, and when you volunteer at the Refuge, what do you do? Who do you work with? So just take a couple of minutes and put that in the chat. So go ahead and just put your name, okay? Rick, trail maintenance, vegetation management, thanks. All right. And I'm not going to read everything, but you guys can see who's there. You can check in to see who's around. Awesome. So thanks. So just go ahead and keep typing those in so everyone knows who's here and how we're all connected. All right. Lots of great comments, and this is a great way to see everybody that's here and how everybody's connected. Thank you. This is great. All right. So now we're going to get on with the rest of what's going to happen today. So first of all, the staff of the Refuge is going to give some updates. Then Joan and I and some other board members are here, but Joan is going to give an update, especially about a fun event coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to specifically leave time for your questions and just a conversation. I know when we were planning this, you know, when we were talking with Nancy and Patrick and Karen, everybody's like, we just want to see them. We just want to talk to them. So we're going to have some time for that. So we're going to have some time for you guys just to connect up and have some conversations. And then just at the last 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you guys, and I want you to start thinking about it now, because we're going to ask you at the end, how often would you like to connect? Would you like to connect monthly, every other month, once a quarter? We're going to throw out some ideas about what day of the week, what time of the day works for you guys, and then what do you want to get out of this time if we do more, which I think we probably will, because at least the staff and the friends group wants to do more because we want to see you guys. So we're probably going to do more of these. So just be thinking about that. So the last thing I forgot to mention with the chat is when you chat at the bottom, when you chat, it says to everyone, if you would like to privately chat to anybody, if you see somebody you volunteered with before and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen Sharon in forever. If you click on the little down icon where it says everyone, it's going to come up with the entire list of everyone that's in our meeting. And if you want to send a private chat to one of those people, all you do is click on their name and you can send a private chat. So just wanted to throw that out there if anybody really wants to connect anybody. So yes, you can, no mean messages. Oh, no one's going to send mean messages to you, Patrick. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, no mean
where's
messages.
The fun in that?
No mean messages, only kind and caring ones. So yeah, but we do want you to know that you can chat with each other too. This is an opportunity for you guys to connect. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to the agenda. And with that, first thing we got up is the Refuge update. So I'm going to turn it over to Nancy. And again, I'm going to mute myself now, and Nancy will unmute herself and she will be on. I will keep track of time as well. I know Karen can't be here, so we'll just kind of be a little flexible with timing.
Hello again, greetings. Thank you again. Awesome job, Sue, in getting us set up. It takes a lot to get everybody on board. Excellent. So I just wanted to let you know Karen was able to make it, so she is on the call. The other staff members are myself, Patrick, our park ranger, Carla Dykstra, who is our administrative officer, and I think that's it. So anyway, so Scott Gilgy, who is our refuge manager, is not available today. Otherwise, he would be doing the refuge update. So he is actually on a buyer detail with one of our other staff members, Neal, and they are actually at a fire detail in California. So they are not able to join us. So they should be coming back around October 13th. So in Scott's place, I'm just going to give you a little update on just the overview of what's been happening at the refuge. And of course, if you have questions, we will also accommodate those as well. So as you know, unfortunately, the visitor center has been closed since mid-March, and it continues to be closed. And this is regional guidance, and it's really the regional office has just been so wonderful and really caring for the employees, the volunteers, and the visitors. So the closure is because of safety, and that is the utmost importance, is making sure everybody's going to be safe and healthy. So that's why we've been closed. We initially were closed, and the staff was basically working from home, teleworking. So just recently, probably over the last month or so, maybe a little longer, we've been just little by little coming into the office. We started doing projects, but any projects or field work we did, we have to get permission through the regional office. So they're taking this very, very seriously, which I'm really grateful for, to protect our family, our friends, our neighbors, our volunteers. So we don't have an update when the visitor center is going to open. As soon as we know, we will let you know about it. So at this point, we are at 50% capacity. So we can only have about 50% of the staff at the visitor center and the office space at any one time, just as I mentioned, for safety protocol. And so it's an ongoing looking at what's happening in each area across the country. Where is there a spike in COVID-19, and just assessing what's happening in the local community and surrounding areas. So we'll have to see what happens in the future. What the regional office has an assessment, which they go by to determine if we can open and what activities we can do. So as I mentioned, I'll keep you updated on that. So I will turn it over to Karen. She will go over biology and vegetation management and just give you an overview on that.
Okay, can you see me now? What do I have to do?
You're good, Karen.
Okay, you can see me because I can't see myself. I'm doing it on my phone because I'm in the office and I didn't plan on being here today. The news from the biology program is we've been working out in the field. This summer, it was mostly Kelly and I doing invasive species management, and Neal helped with that too, but we weren't able to bring on any interns, of course, so it was just kind of the bare bones of what we could get done. We're not going to have any bison handling this fall. We usually have our big roundup at the end of October, but we decided just for safety concerns, we're not going to do it this year. We did plant violets, prairie violets this summer. It was late spring, mostly in June we were planting. Those are plants that have been in the greenhouse since last year, and there were some other species too besides the violets, but we planted about 6,000 plants, I think. So that was just with staff. We had 13 calves, bison calves born this year, and unfortunately 2 of them died, and so now we're down to 11. And the reason we're giving is it's 2020, so why else? They were both injured. We just, actually, that's why I'm here today in the office, because we just had one with a broken leg. So yeah, it's a bad year for bison calves. There's a lot of pink eye in the bison herd too, but they seem to be in pretty good condition. And we've had 4 elk calves. I just saw there was just a new one the other day. There's a spotted one out there. So We've had monarchs are pretty much done migrating now, but we have pretty good concentrations of them a couple weeks ago in the middle of September. And then as far as the updates on Kelly, I know some of you have worked with Kelly, and she's a fantastic person. She was a biotech here, and now she just started this week doing some work for Pauline, doing some planning kind of documents. So she's going to be working through at least the end of December. So her position is a seasonal. It was a temporary position. That's why she's not. We would have loved to keep her. So anyway, she's got some work with the Refuge, related to the Refuge still. And then in terms of updates for the Christmas bird count, it looks like we might not hold it. We're still not sure on that. If we do have a Christmas bird count, it's going to be extremely limited. People will just have to go out on their own. We're not allowed to meet as a group and do any of the fun stuff. So we just might not hold it, but we'll see about that. And those are the big updates. That's about all I can think of, unless people have specific questions about biology.
Well, thanks, Karen. And if you do have questions for Karen or anybody, just put them in the chat and we'll cover all those questions when we do the questions and answers later. So thank you, Karen. All right,
Thanks.
So turn it back over to Nancy then for visitor services.
Okay. So Sue, I don't know if you can I share my screen at some point? I had something I wanted to show. Is that possible?
Absolutely. I can stop
Okay.
share. Okay, so you should be able to share yours now.
Not going to do it just yet, but I will, hopefully eventually. So out of all this craziness and terrible year that we've had actually 2 positive things happen for us, which is great. We all can need a boost. And the 2 things that happen that are positive is, one, that there was a tremendous increase in the visitation at the Refuge. And I'm going to hopefully show you a chart of the increase. It was also sent out in the newsletter for the friends, just to show you the amazing recreational and just solace that this Refuge provided everybody during a very difficult time. So that's one positive note. The other positive note, according to this year, is that Patrick and I were able to work on projects that we would normally not get to do. We didn't usually have the time when we have visitors in school groups. So that was another plus, that we could actually work on things on the back burner and get completed. And I'll share some of those things. We much rather work with volunteers and the school groups and visitors, but unfortunately we couldn't do that. So we took the opportunity to work on these other important projects and got them completed. And here are some of the things that we worked on. So with the help of a lot of the staff, including Carla and Karen and Patrick, we all helped in revising several of our brochures, which includes the bird checklist, the wildflower brochure, the rack card, and also Patrick did a phenomenal job of creating a tear map that's going to replace that white sheet that we give out at the front desk. It's not the greatest handout, so this is going to be a nice slick colored map and information on the trails and regulations on the Refuge, all in one document that'll be nice to give out. So that's a plus for us. So hopefully you like the new versions of our brochures. Thanks to all the staff on the hard work on that. Additionally, through a grant through the Friends, Jim Johnston is just an amazing grant writer. He got another grant for us, which Joan may talk a little bit about. And in part of that is we're going to get a kiosk at the Oak Savannah. And that's going to also include information about hunting and possibilities on the Refuge and an overview of the Oak Savannah. So we've been working on those signs. And then additionally, through another grant that Jim wrote, we got money to replace the signs at Prairie City. They have a kiosk at their entry park where that bison statue is. So we were able to work on the signs for that. Patrick, myself, and Rachel and Carla helping us with all the editing. Another big project we got complete. So if you're in Prairie City, stop by the little entry park there and take a look at the new signs. They look really good. Let's see what else. One of the other big projects we've been working on is we have a partnership. There's 5 different partners within this partnership. It's called the Greater Des Moines Urban Wildlife Conservation Partnership. And the partners are the Iowa Department of, Iowa DNR, sorry, the Des Moines Park and Rec, Army Corps at Saylorville, and Neal Smith, of course, and then Polk County Conservation. And we have an MOU with these agencies, and the project is consisting of working together on land that is owned by the Army Corps, and we want to get in there and work with the urban community. So it's going to be our outreach in the urban community. We've met several times. We have a MOU, a memorandum of agreement in place, and so we just got a facilitator through the National Parks system, and they are going to help us to create our vision, mission, and objectives for this. So we'll be meeting starting next week. And the hopes is to hire a coordinator that will help coordinate the different agencies and our goals. The Refuge would like to use that as an asset for us to reach the urban community and different demographics that we typically don't have visiting the Refuge. Also working on some of the natural resource projects. Karen will be your liaison and represent the Refuge and providing them with some advice and her skills with natural resource projects. And they have some amazing oxbows, waterways that are disconnected from the Des Moines River. And this is all going to be happening around Des Moines River, Prospect Park area and Saylorville Lake. So the Army Corps would like to work on restoration of those oxbows. Let's see, hold on, bear with me. I think I'm going over my time allocation here. We did work on a commercial film permit. So commercial film companies can now come on the Refuge through a special use permit and start filming, and then which will help with educating people about the Refuge in Tallgrass Prairie. The Refuge just received an award that we have for Outstanding Partner of the Year through the Silos and Smokestacks Natural Heritage area, and that's a partner of ours. And the award ceremony is going to be virtual, and it's going to be hosted on November 12th at 4:30 via Zoom. So now that you're experts with Zoom, you hopefully can join us for that. I can send that out in the email as well. We have worked with them, this Silos and Smokestacks, they have provided us with grants for the Prairie City signs, intern funding. So we have a good partnership with them. And then lastly, the Refuge, there's a national campaign called Welcome to Wild. And this is a rebranding of the National Wildlife Refuge System's outreach. We're not very well known across the nation. So the national headquarters of communication is creating this outreach, and it's right now focusing on social media. So there's a campaign that is a year long, and it has 6 activation periods. This past week was the first of the 6 activation periods. Do I still have time to share my screen?
Sorry, Nancy. I kidded. I
Got the
muted you
walk-off
by
music.
I muted you by accident. Yes, we don't have. Yeah, you've got about 30 seconds left, so you just need to unmute yourself again, Nancy.
Can I share my screen really fast?
Yes, real quick. And then we need to move on to Patrick.
All right, the screen sharing is disabled. So we'll just skip that. Maybe at the end we can do it.
All right, we'll move on to you, Patrick.
All right, good to see all of you. So normally I'd be updating you on what we're doing with education and outreach at this time. It's going to be pretty easy because we're not really doing anything with outreach and education at this time due to COVID. A lot of you have helped me with outreach in the past. We would have been wrapping up our last farmers markets and festivals. September would have been a busy month, but we've been trying to do more virtual things. If any of you follow us on Facebook, if you don't, I highly recommend you do. We've been trying to do more videos and more regular posts. So since we can't have students come into the Refuge and see us in person, we're trying to do more virtual and distance things. So actually just launched a What is Tallgrass Prairie video. I recommend checking that out. and it's going to be part of a series. So that's one way we hope to stay in contact with people. Other goings on. So Nancy mentioned that we're redoing some of our kiosks. So that's been one positive of working remotely, is we've had time for those back burner projects. So if anyone's gone on our overlook trail and seen that kiosk up at the top of the hill that has the random map with like 3/4 of a frame and nothing else, that's going to get replaced soon. So get excited. And another thing is the us being working remotely has forced us kicking and screaming to start to adapt new technology. So Zoom obviously is one of those. But another thing we're trying to use is an app called OnCell. This is a very common visitor engagement app used by national parks, and a handful of refuges also use it. So think of it like an interactive Google Maps for your phone. So you could look at a map of the refuge, an overhead map, and then little icons would pop up at trailheads, and you could click them and get a virtual tour of, say, the Overlook Trail. Or Nancy and I are also working on the auto tour as well. So that's probably going to be one of the first ones we do. So there are some positives to having time to work on things and learning new technology. We hope to get OnCell launched and ready with the auto tour script, hopefully by the end of the year. And then we'll have some other tours going as we have the time to add them. So that's the gist of what we've been doing in the education side of things. It's been slow. It's been trying to learn new skills and new ways to reach out with people. So this is definitely one of my highlights, though, is getting to see all of you and using technology to be able to bridge that gap, because it has been lonely being able to see you or not see you. And Mark just asked a question, can OnCell be used with remote school groups? So yes, it can. So it's like any number of apps you could get for your phone where you can download them. And it's kind of like a website where you could scroll through and you could go through different tours, go through different points of interest. So that is something that we can use for our school groups as well, correct? Yeah, and that's about all I have. Sharon had asked about derecho, if that had impacted the refuge at all. I'll talk real quickly about that just because I was part of the cleanup crew. So we did lose lots of trees along the Oak Savannah and Basswood trails. And then our big entry road sign also toppled over. It's back up now, but it's a little worse for wear, you might notice. So we've cleared most of the trees that were along Oak Savannah. I think there's one big branch that's kind of partially blocking. And the reason it's taking us so long to fix this is you need certain certifications to be a sawyer, to use a chainsaw for the Fish and Wildlife Service. And we have limited people on staff who can do that, and they're out doing fire right now. So the hope is that we'll get those cleared as soon as possible once Scott's back from fire. Basswood, unfortunately, is still closed. There's a widowmaker of a tree that's kind of hanging at an oblique angle that we're kind of worried about, so we have it blocked off. So thanks for bringing that up, Sharon. And that's all I had.
All right. Thank you, Patrick. And we're right on time. So I am going to try to share my screen again and get back to where we were. All right. Hey, it worked. Can you guys see that? Somebody could just say in chat, yep, we see your agenda again. That would be great.
Yeah, it's there.
All right, thank you. And also before we move on, Doug had asked me what flower this is on this agenda page. I have not the foggiest. I just thought it was pretty when I was at the refuge on Saturday. So I'm about to turn this over to Joan, and I bet Joan knows what this is. So Joan, you're up, and could you share with us what flower this is? What plant is this?
I would say it's New England aster. Better ask the refuge staff just in case, but I think that's what it is, as far as I know. Is that right? Hopefully.
Actually,
Anyway.
I think it's sky blue aster.
Sky blue, okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, yeah, thanks to Sue and the Refuge staff for getting this all put together. It is nice to see all of you again, for sure. You know, like for everything for the Friends, haven't been real busy this year, though it seems like we've been busy with things. Of course, all events were, you know, canceled and nature stores not open. So it's been such a strange year for that. But a couple things that have been keeping us a little busy, which I don't know if you follow us on Facebook or if you get our newsletter, we are still doing the photo contest this year. It closed as of yesterday. Photos had to be in by October 1st, and we had to switch to virtual. Normally we've had, you know, people print their pictures and send them to us, but we're trying it for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to have judging in October, and I think we'll have the winners by the beginning of November. And then we hope to put everything out on either the website or Facebook. Somehow we'll share all those photos. So that part will be good. Everybody will be able to see them, even though they can't, you know, go out to the visitor center to see them. And then I know there's a lot of board members that are on. So, well, there's a couple things I think a couple of them might talk about more than I will. I'm not sure how much time we have, but the one thing I wanted to mention, 5 minutes, oh no. One thing I wanted to mention is, if you haven't heard, our Friends group was chosen by the National Wildlife Refuge Association as Friends Group of the Year this year. National Wildlife Refuge Association is a nonprofit also that advocates for the refuge system and does a lot for Friends groups. There too, the award ceremony was supposed to be in DC. That again was canceled. So it's going to be a virtual ceremony on October 22, and I think it'll be 6 o'clock Central Time. I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock Eastern. If you want to go to it, all you have to do is register. It's free. Just go to the National Wildlife Refuge Association website, and you should be able to register. So it should be fun. They're trying to make it as, you know, as fun as possible, since we can't be there in person. The only other thing I was thinking, and you know, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but Jim Johnson is, like Nancy says, is amazing with writing grants. If you've been out there with the vault toilet, what was installed last year, but it was a great timing because now, because of the increased visitorship, I mean, that's been great for people, you know, that there's something out there that they don't have to try to get back into Prairie City. We've had a lot of people thank us that that's there. And then also Jim wrote a grant, and the end of October, the first day of pheasant hunting season, there's going to be a contest for pheasant hunters, spurs and tails. And so I don't know, Jim, if you want to jump in for a couple minutes, if there's anything you want to talk about that, feel free. I think Jim's on.
There I am. Thank you. I have my butterfly commercial here. I'm probably seeing that. But yeah, the Spurs and Tails contest is a contest for the longest feather on a rooster pheasant plus the spur length. It's a contest that was very common in Iowa, perhaps in the early 60s, but is not very common now. We are working with the R3 group, which is national, which is basically a group that recruits, retains, and reactivates hunters and other people who are very much outdoors people, so that they can at least bring in new people, new youngsters, and deal with people who have perhaps given up hunting or other activities of that nature in the outdoors and would like to get back into it. The contest is a very simple contest. There'll be a tent that's set up at the visitor center, and you actually may be able to buy a few things at the visitor center. We may have some things out available for that, but there'll be coffee there in the morning, donuts even. And hunters will bring birds in, and they will be measured. The winning birds will receive, or the winning hunters will receive a prize. And there'll be a couple of prizes for the second place hunters, which involve goldies over in Prairie City. But yes, it's a contest that we think we can hold safely because number one, it's outdoors. We can socially distance, wear masks, and we can actually accomplish something. So I think positive. So if you want to come out and look, that's fine too. It's held from 9 until 3 o'clock in the afternoon when all of the activities will cease. But yeah, thank you, Joan, for allowing me to talk about that.
Sure. Yep, you know most about it. So, but yeah, otherwise I don't have too much. But there again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, or feel free. You can either call or email me, or the friends. You can email the friends. Email is buffalo@tallgrass.org. If you ever have any questions or just want to check in with us, feel free. Because like I said, we wish we could do more, but we're kind of a small group and can only do so much right now. So we'll see what next year brings, I guess. So I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, Joan.
Yep.
And if you want to type the email address for friends in the chat, that would be great for people that maybe didn't get it, and the name of where they would go to find out about joining us on October 22nd. That would be great. And Jim, same thing. If you want to put some more information about the pheasant spurs and tails, the date and the times and stuff like that in the chat, then people that didn't catch it when we talked about it, that would be great. So I'm just looking at our time. Richard had a question about volunteer opportunities sooner rather than later, and I know that Nancy's giving some response there. Don't have a date set yet, so we're going to be talking about that more. And the reopening will happen in phases. So what I do want to do is Karen had sent me a private chat, and she wanted to share one more thing. So I want to give Karen that opportunity. So Karen, if you want to unmute and share.
Okay, we forgot to report about our windows. We bought some, we applied some dots on the windows. If you haven't been out to the Refuge for a while, check out the windows around the visitor center. They're supposed to reduce window strikes by birds. So we spent several days applying that this summer, and we've had a lot of window strikes in the past, so we're hoping it's making a difference. We didn't get all the windows. We did the lower ones because we were able to do that. The upper windows would involve we would have to get scaffolding or something up there, and we weren't able to do that this summer. So maybe in the future we'll do the rest of the windows.
All right, thank you, Karen. Yeah, I was out there last Saturday, and it just, the Refuge looks great. So I encourage you to all get out there. So we have about 10 minutes now where we can just do questions and answers. So if you have questions, if you want to do that, and Nancy, yes, I have done it so that you should be able to share your screen. Do you want to do that now? I will stop my share, and Nancy, you should be able to share now. And there you go. And you are still muted, Nancy.
Sorry, the mute button changed to the top, so I couldn't find it. So I just wanted to share the visitation. Patrick does an awesome job of collecting we have traffic counters and pedestrian counters that collect data from our trails and from vehicles. And so you're looking at a comparison from fiscal year 2019 to fiscal year 2020. And if you take, for instance, the auto tour, the Bison Enclosure Road, we have a vehicle counter out there, and you can see the huge increase. So that is not just the raw data. We actually take, we approximate how many people are per vehicle. I think it's 2.5 people per vehicle for the vehicle, for the bison enclosure. So we take the raw number from the vehicle counter and then estimate how many people per vehicle. But you can just see the tremendous amount of increase in in our visitation. And thanks to, it was just awesome to be able to have that restroom at the Oak Savannah. As I mentioned, we're doing a rebranding and outreach strategy that's coming from the national office. So I'm just gonna, it's 6 activation periods. This past week was the first activation period. And so they're trying to connect to different audiences, and they're focusing on engaging young adults. And you can now see the logo for this past week, what they're focusing on. And so our Facebook page has been focusing on those themes. And as you look below that, you will see the different activation periods that are for this over the course of the year. And they're connected to natural-based national events like Earth Day or Migratory Bird Day. So take a look for that. You'll be seeing us posted and engaged in that national campaign. Thank you. Sorry to take more time.
No problem, Nancy. So this is the time. One of the things when we were first talking about this is the staff were like, and some of the board members is like, we want to just talk to each other. So, you know, this is a chance. So do you have any questions, if you want to put them in the chats, if you want to ask Karen specifically something, or Nancy or Patrick, or just let us know. And there's not a lot of people on the call actually, besides staff and the Friends board. So you know what, if you want to just come off mute and ask a question, or just, I don't know, say hi to each other, that's okay too. So what do you guys want to talk about? We got about 10 minutes. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to say hi to the other store volunteers that I have not seen in, let's see, a very long time. Hi, you guys. And the staff, of course, too.
Okay, other volunteers, come on off mute if you want to just say hi, or if you got a specific question, or you want to say hi to who you work with. This is your opportunity. Come on off and talk to each other.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to find, what's it going to look when we come back? What you say it's gradual opening, but what does that mean? How's that going to work?
Is it, if it's okay with you, Sue, I'll take that question.
Yes, go for it, Nancy.
Okay. Nan, good to see you. Thanks for the question. So it is really, it's been stages and it's been very slow process. So it is, first, we don't even have all the staff back yet. We don't have the visitor center open. We don't have an opening date for that. And they're watching very carefully the spikes in the Midwest. So that's the major concern. So they have an assessment that they go through to determine what we can do. So that's what they've been comparing it. If there's a spike in the community, you know, what's happening. So the project leader, Scott, has been working with the regional office. So we're actually in a better place than we were, you know, a month ago, that we actually can come into the office at 50%. I think the next stage will be that we start maybe hopefully opening the visitor center partially, if we're lucky. We haven't gotten word on that just yet. And then we'd have to put safety guidelines in place, hand sanitizer, you know, what other things, you know, strategically put in place guidelines to make sure that you're safe, the volunteers are safe, the visitors are safe. So it's going to be a slow process on reopening, but just keep in mind that the regional office, our staff, the utmost importance is your safety and health, and we don't want to put you in any danger. So it's going to be a very thought out process, but I apologize. It's taken so long, but it is what it is. And we just want to make sure you're in good, healthy, and we're in good shape to bring you back. So at this point, I don't have an opening date, and as soon as we get more information, we'll tell you, but it really goes week by week in watching what's happening. And since the Midwest has been such an explosion of COVID increase, it's put us behind. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great to have you, and thanks for the question.
You're welcome.
I have a question for Joan. Of course. Joan, how are the memberships coming along this year with people not being able to come into the visitor center and
You
stuff?
know, it's definitely the number of new members is down. I mean, last year, I forget how many new members we had just from people coming into the visitor center. It has been surprising. We've been trying to do some things on Facebook and we've gotten some new members, you know, which is kind of surprising because they're not getting the little brochure. I mean, they're having to go out, you know, on the website or whatever. So we're doing pretty good. It's some of the hardest things we've been having right now is kind of just getting the renewals in. And I think it's just because everybody's year is so crazy that they're just not even thinking about it. So in case you're a member and haven't renewed, I'm going to be bugging you again in October. But, you know, we just have to do that. Oh, and that's another thing. The board is always looking for more people to serve on the board. And one thing that is open is our membership coordinator. So if that'd be anything you'd want to hear more about, let me know. I mean, it's kind of fun. I enjoy doing it. It's kind of fun to see our members have to kind of, you know, maybe develop a new letter each year to send out. But yeah, like I said, it would be something I'd like to get off my plate if I could. But we are, like I said, we have gotten a few new members. I've been kind of surprised at that if they're, you know, they have found us via Facebook. And I think just because of so many visitors coming out to the refuge and have loved it, that they have put forth the effort to find out, you know, how to become a member of the Friends. So, and that's our, you know, other than the nature store and, you know, like grants that Jim writes or so, that is our main income is membership. So every little bit helps no matter what. So
Is there a separation where, are you guys not allowed to like put something up on the kiosks about the Friends organization
No.
because you're not official?
You know, now Nancy or Karen, whoever wants to, I'm sure, you know, it's possible we could put, you know, we're the Friends group, what it is. I don't know if we could do that, but we can't do anything related to fundraising. Any monetary thing we would not be able to do. I mean, we can't put our brochures out there, things like that. That's limited since it is federal property. We can keep, that's why we have things in the nature store, but that's about as much as we can do. So we're a little limited. So,
Yes, quite.
yeah. Try social media as much as we can right now. So, yeah.
Great question and answers. Karen, there was a question that came in chat from Amanda and PJ about how can they help. I don't know if you can see that, Karen. Would you like me to read it to you or can you see it?
No, I see it. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, we're just being instructed not to use volunteers. I know it does seem like there are things people could do on their own, but just for safety reasons, I guess we don't want them doing that. One thing I'm thinking of seeing about, we did get a limited number of seed collected this fall. It was mostly Kelly doing it. I think Patrick did some. I'm not sure if anybody else did, but if it's possible, one thing that people could do, it'll have to go through our channels to get approved, but cleaning seed, I think we could have people check out some seed and clean it at home, so you wouldn't even have to be here. But like I said, we are not authorized to do that yet, but I'm thinking about it. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, how can we help? I know it's hard, especially those of you that were out there so much. It's hard not to be able to get out there. We can go visit, but that's not quite the same thing as being able to help. So we've got a couple more minutes. Is there any other question? Does anybody have a question, burning question, or does staff have anything else they want to add besides saying hi?
If I can get on, Sue, for just a sec.
Sure.
So I just want to thank everybody for your patience. I know this has been a really, really trying time for everybody. It's great to see you all. And it's frustrating for us too, that we can't have you come in. I know it sounds like it's a simple thing just to go out and collect seeds. But as Karen mentioned, we're just not authorized. We're very limited in what even just the staff can do. The visitor center is not open. We have to have only so many people, you know, in the restrooms or in the kitchen. So we're really limited in our ability to function. And that's what's limiting as a staff, let alone bringing volunteers. But I really, really hear you, and you've been patient, and thank you so much for hanging in there with us and supporting us. I hope you realize how critical and important the volunteers are to Neal Smith National Wildlife Refuge. We could not do most of what we do without you. So grateful from all the staff to you. Thank you so much. Hang in there with us.
And yeah, it's really showing. I mean, we rely so much on volunteers for things like seed collection, and it's pretty pathetic in the seed lab right now. Normally this time of year it would be full of seeds, but there's just a few trays in there. So yeah, we miss you all for other reasons too, not just for the work you do, but to see all those smiling faces.
All right, great. Patrick, did you want to add any words?
Again, great to see you all. I do have one question for all of you. Does anyone have a good recipe for cooking wild mushrooms? I harvested my first giant puffball the other day and thought, oh man, this is great. I'm going to cook this. And it was terrible. It was so bad. I fried it up in butter thinking it's like a butter sponge. It's going to be great. Oh, it was bad. Made pretty good soup with it, but whew, if anyone has a good recipe, let me know.
Send it to Patrick. Good recipe, send to Patrick. And maybe everybody else. Maybe that would be something that would be fun to share. Which gets us...
Oh, I was just going to say, go into the nature store and check out some of the books that are there. Maybe there's a recipe in one of those.
There's like a cooking with mushrooms book. There's a mushroom book.
Could be, yeah.
Check that
There
out.
you go.
Thank you.
There you go, Patrick. Next time you're in the office, just wander into the nature store and check it out. All
And
right.
Sue, can I just say one last thing real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to thank the board and congratulate them for their award. It's an amazing, that's a national award across the nation. Refuge Friends groups were nominated, and our Friends group got the award from the National Wildlife Refuge Association. So it's an amazing award. I am so proud of them. And please, if you can, join them for the virtual award ceremony. I'm actually going to send it out in an email. I'll send out the information in an email to all the volunteers. And once again, thank you to Sue for doing an awesome job in putting this together and facilitating the meeting. Excellent work, Sue. Thank you so much for bringing us together.
Thank you. We've got one more thing before we are done for our day today. So can you see the screen again? Joan, I can see you. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen? Thank you. All right. So on the screen, I was going to do some polls, but I wasn't sure how familiar people were with polls. So what I decided to do is we're going to do a poll via chat. So these are the 3 questions that we need your input on. So the first one is, how often do you want to connect? And so what I want you to do in the chat is, if you would like to have a monthly connect like this, I want you just to put in the chat 1A. That's all you have to do. Put in 1A. If you'd like to do it every other month, then just put in 1B. If you want to do it quarterly, then do 1C. So all you have to do to answer question 1 is put in 1A, 1B, or 1C. And that's going to help me to know what you guys are thinking. Okay? So I'm going to give you a chance to do that. And then the rest, and then for question 2, what time of the day of the week works best? So on this one, I want you to chat all the times that do work. Or if all of these options work, put all of them are good. So Friday mornings from like 10 to 11, Friday afternoons from 3 to 4, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, weekday evening. So again, chat 2A, 2C, whatever works for you, and do include all that are good. Thank you. You guys are doing great. You're giving us exactly what we need. All right, and then when you get done with question 1 and question 2, no rush, you can think about it. Then I want you to do question 3. And so question 3 is, what would you like us to do at these events? So again, I want you to put in the chat your first choice. So do you want to get updates on all areas of the refuge, and we really spend most of the time doing some updates? Do you want us to do some short updates and then focus on one new thing, like maybe Patrick could walk us through an on sale, how that's going to work? And maybe we could go a little deeper in that, or Karen could share something, or Nancy could share something, or Scott, whoever. One of the staff would go a little bit deeper, and we'd let you know ahead of time. And then the other option is some basic updates, but more time for you guys just to talk to each other. We thought about maybe setting up breakout rooms. So if you work mostly with Karen, you could go into a breakout room with Karen. If you work more with Patrick or Nancy, you could go into a breakout room, and we could spend 15, 20 minutes where you guys could just talk to each other. So just think about which of those would you like. So if everybody could answer each of those 3 questions. So again, 1 is how often do you want to connect? 2 is what is the time of day of the week that works best, or any that work. And then what would you like to do with these events? So let us know. And if you want to, I didn't actually put in here breakout rooms, but if you like the idea of breakout rooms, put breakout rooms too. So put 3 breakout rooms if you want to add that one in. You can still pick A, B, or C and then just add breakout rooms. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the information in the chat, and we will be able to kind of put something together, and then we'll get back together and figure out the best way to do this. All right, you guys are rock stars. Look at all of these comments coming in the chat. That's going to give us great input as to how we're going to move forward. All right. And I have that it is 4 o'clock straight up. So I'm going to ask, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I just want to say from myself and from the other board members, we appreciate you being here today. Thanks for joining us, and just take care of yourselves. If you would like to, at this time, come off mute, say goodbye, say hey, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to stop the recording so you guys